For those who didn't have the privilege of listening to Pippa today, her Monday chat with Carte Blanche was about the episode on Carte Blanche last night about the Listeriosis class action, and Pippa spoke to the producer Kate Barry, who produced the segment on this for Carte Blanche last night. The Daily Maverick is going big on it. Newsroom Africa carried live a fairly significant news conference about this. And this, as Pippa told you, as you might have read or seen in other media, goes back to the Listeriosis outbreak of 27. More than 200 people died. Contaminated meat products traced back to an enterprise factory in Polokwane under the corporate umbrella of Tiger Brands. Class action suit launched for the families of people infected. It was absolutely terrible that what happened, and a couple of law firms, including Richard Spoor Incorporated, acting on behalf of more than 800 victims in a class action lawsuit. And the publicity has been around what they say is overwhelming evidence that the enterprise facility was without question responsible for the outbreak. One of the attorneys at RSI, Zeenat Emamally, joins us now. Zeenat, good afternoon.
Hi, John. Thanks for having me.
It's 2017 is what we're talking about. How is it that this new evidence has only come to light now?
So what the NICD has now given us is the raw data files, which back up the conclusions that they made in 2017, 2018, that the enterprise facility was the source of the listeriosis outbreak. What this evidence allows us to do now is to essentially make a DNA fingerprint match between the listeriosis that was found in persons and the listeriosis that was detected in Tiger Brands facility.
Not being a DNA specialist in any shape, manner or form, what does this suggest conclusively to you?
Our experts have told us that this indicates beyond a doubt that the persons who contracted listeriosis, the ST6 type of listeriosis, were linked to the Tiger Brands facility.
And to that facility only? Was this something that Tiger Brands has been contesting?
Yes, so Tiger Brands, in their legal papers, they admit that they produce products contaminated with ST6 and that they made some persons sick, but they do not accept that they made everyone sick. What we've also gotten from the NICD this year is confirmation that of all the locations that they visited and tested, the ST6 strain was detected nowhere else.
And your experts say this is proof positive that everybody who suffered as a result of the ST6 infection was infected by product coming from that one production facility.
Yes, but it goes beyond that. Certain persons didn't have the benefit of this genetic testing. And so what our experts have found was that if you did have genetic testing, you were 93% likely to be an ST6 case. So if you were one of those cases that just didn't have genetic testing, you too would have a 93% likelihood of being an ST6 case.
And this is significantly more than the evidence that you had available before this raw data arrived from the NICD.
Absolutely. So we have the NICD's conclusions that Tiger Brands produce these contaminated products which could be linked to persons' listeriosis infection. But the data that we have now allows us to actually do this comparison and see that there's very, very small genetic differences between the listeriosis strains.
I don't want to make too much of the gap between then and this new evidence, but why did it take this long for the NICD to provide this data for your experts to look at?
Well, as you know, the NICD is an institution which is seized with different public health emergencies. So during the COVID epidemic, they were also, just under-resourced and just completely not able to provide this information to us. So we made this request, and it did take some time, but now that we have it, we think we're in a very strong position.
Inevitably, Tiger Brands, having fairly deep pockets, are probably going to come up with experts who, if the matter does get to a court, will challenge the deductions that your experts have made. That's the way these things go, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. They've already told us that they don't accept the findings of the NICD were correct. We don't know on what basis they argue this, but we are prepared indeed for a fight on the scientific evidence.
What is the status of the suit in terms of its obviously very slow progress through the legal system?
So yes, we are waiting for a little bit additional information from the NICD, which we hope to get in the coming weeks, after which we will be in a position to apply for a trial date. But separate to that, we're also hoping that now with this raw data files that we have, that Tiger Brands will finally do the right thing and settle the cases without the need to go to trial.
Yeah, I mean, and there's nothing wrong with using public pressure in the way that is happening at the moment with the Carte Blanche episode, the Daily Maverick story, the Newsroom Africa news conference, and watching one of the mothers crying as she recounted what is happening to one of her children, and as a result of this, and having a priest on the panel and so on. I mean, there's nothing wrong with using that kind of media attention, but a settlement is better than a lengthy and expensive trial.
Of course, yes. And just to add, besides there being nothing wrong, we believe it's our duty to our clients to tell their stories. They've been waiting 6 years for some form of justice, and it's been so long drawn out in the legal forums that they've asked us, please, can we approach the media? And that's exactly what we've done to get their stories out.
What are you asking of Tiger Brands? What quantum?
So we estimate that the quantum will exceed R1 billion. It would include the medical expenses that our clients have incurred as a result of listeriosis, lost income, loss of earning potential, psychological damage. All of these expenses for over 1,000 persons will be quite a significant sum.
And you've had a look at Tiger Brands' company accounts, listed company, so you have access to those, and you feel that they can pay it without threatening the financial viability of the company?
Look, Tiger Brands is insured, so the party that is actually defending this case are Tiger Brands insurers. So we do believe that there should be quite a significant sum that would cover the claims.
And if the insurers don't agree to settle, if Tiger Brands doesn't put pressure, I don't know how feasible that is, but if the combination of Tiger Brands and the insurers say, no, we're going to fight this in court, we don't have a lot of history with class action. We don't have a lot of precedent with class action suits in South Africa. So, in terms of what one can vaguely, reliably predict, if they do decide against settling, we're probably talking, 3, 4, 5 years still to go?
Yeah, look, that would not be ideal. We want this resolved as soon as possible. Unfortunately, our court systems are quite jammed, but we are hoping that if we get an order that we'll be able to an order that Tiger Brands produce contaminated products, and that any person who consumed those products Tiger Brands is liable towards, then we think we'll be able to hopefully settle it after that stage.
Yeah, because a couple of the stories which are being told now, and they really are heartbreaking. Montla Ngobeni, whose son was born with hydrocephalus linked to listeriosis. You can imagine the medical expense that she has had to try and bear. A single mother in Tabiseng, a child born with cerebral palsy, dependent on her for life, 7 years old, can't even hold up his own head. These are the real world implications of the listeriosis epidemic outbreak.
Yeah, absolutely. And these are not just isolated cases. There are so many children. Children made up half the cases of listeriosis at the time. Infants under the age of 28 were the most affected age group. So you have around 500 children now who are dealing with the impacts and the long-lasting impacts of their listeriosis infection, which, as you say, manifests in different ways, brain damage, it's permanent disability, seizures. So it really is heartbreaking.
Zeenat, thank you for talking us through all of that. Zeenat Emamally, an attorney at Richard Spoor Incorporated.